This Halloween candy had a needle in it. This one had drugs hidden inside, and this one was laced with poison. And in this video, we're going to be working our way up to the scariest thing that was ever found in Halloween candies. Let's get started with a spiky candy surprise. Imagine going out on Halloween to do some trick-or-treating. You come home, pull out a candy bar from your candy bag. Oh, it's a Twix bar. Nice. You go to take a bite and ouch, something pokes you on the inside of your cheek. That's what happened to one young girl in Hawaii in 2015. This young girl had a needle in her Twix bar. And it gets even worse. In the same year, there were similar stories of kids finding needles in Nestle Crunch bars and in Snickers bars too. Luckily, these kids got away without injury, but this story could have ended so much worse. Finding needles is bad enough, but you won't believe this next story. Nobody likes getting candy stuck in their teeth. But you know what's even worse? Finding bullets where your candy was supposed to be. One Halloween, a 4-year-old boy had actual bullets in his Milk Duds box. You're probably asking yourself, how did they get in there? Well, it turns out they'd been put into the candy boxes during a trick-or-treat event at the kids' preschool. Apparently, there were 3 .22 caliber rounds just chilling there in his Milk Duds box. Luckily, his mother found the bullets before he swallowed them. That definitely would have been a trip to the hospital. Anyway, who wants metal-flavored candy? After trick-or-treating, a mother in Indiana was going through her daughter's candies when she spotted an unopened Snickers bar. While nothing seemed wrong with that, everything quickly changed when she decided to tear open the candy. Guess what she found inside? A dangerous metal rod was sitting there inside her daughter's Snickers bar. That's a pretty bad Halloween prank, don't you think? Immediately, the police began an investigation into the candy manufacturer, but found out that it's very likely that the candy could never have been from their plant. And to this day, no one knows how it got in there. Let's move on to some ant-killing candies. In 1964, an old lady called Helen Fail got really annoyed with children she thought were too old for trick-or-treating. That's when she made special treats for them. She got a bit too caught up in the prank though, as she took a dog biscuit, some steel wool and ant poison, wrapped it up in a candy bar, and handed it out to 12 teenagers who were around 14 to 16 years old. That evening, 5 of the sweets were found, and the woman was immediately taken to the police. She insisted that she meant it as a joke when questioned by the authorities. The judge ordered her to be sent to a hospital for a psychological evaluation. On the topic of poison, here's a creepy pixie stick story. Timothy O'Brien thought it would be a good idea to put poison in the Pixie Sticks candy and then give it out to 5 children, including his son and daughter. Want to know the worst part? He did this in an effort to kill them and collect a $40,000 life insurance payout. Sadly, O'Brien's plan worked as his son unfortunately passed away. Can you imagine how difficult this must have been for the boy's mother? Before he was arrested, the authorities took all of the remaining poison sugar tubes. Thank goodness. He was executed in 1984 and is known as the Candyman. Nothing happened to other kids, and O'Brien never got the large insurance payout he always wanted. Time for a sharp Snickers surprise. After trick-or-treating in 2015, a boy noticed something didn't feel right while tearing into a Snickers bar. The object that was stuffed within the nougat turned out to be a disposable razor blade. Luckily, this boy discovered the blade before he swallowed it. But that's not all. There was a similar story in 1968 where 12 children discovered razor blades in apples they got during trick-or-treating. Even though a number of these kids weren't injured, an unlucky few had brutal cuts in their mouths. Scary indeed. Dramamine, anyone? I know what you're thinking. What the hell is this? It's a prescription drug that cures motion sickness, not the kind of thing you'd want in your Halloween candies. Skittles, M&Ms, and even Smarties are all small, colorful, and tasty. But what if someone mistakenly mixed them with Dramamine tablets? Well, it looks like they did. One little girl found a bottle of Dramamine tablets in her candy bag after trick-or-treating in 2015. There were 6 tablets in the bottle, but want to know the worst part? The bottle was open. If this young girl would have taken it, she could have had hallucinations or even a severe seizure. Luckily, the young girl's mother found the Dramamine tablets before she started eating her candies. On the topic of drugs, it's time for some illegal ones. One drug dealer in California came up with the brilliant idea to hide cannabis in the wrappers of Snickers candy bars. Great idea, really. Who'd have thought there'd be an illegal drug in a Snickers bar? Unfortunately, this smuggling scheme could go wrong if it got into the wrong hands. And that's exactly what happened. The package didn't have a valid address on it, so the post office employee decided to give the Snickers bars to children. Yikes! One kid ended up with 4 of these Snickers bars in his trick-or-treat bag. Imagine the shock of finding an illegal drug when all you just wanted was a tasty Snickers bar. Cannabis is bad enough, but what about some harder drugs? One mother from California bit into a piece of her kid's Halloween candy in 2013, she started to feel a little bit weird. She got so scared she went to the hospital after experiencing weird symptoms. At the hospital, the doctor told her she had actually taken LSD, a dangerous illegal drug. How so? Well, the chocolate that the woman had eaten contained traces of this deadly drug, and it was a good thing she took it from her 16-month-old daughter. Who knows what would have happened if the little girl had LSD in her? Also, it does make one wonder whether she wasn't a little too young to be trick-or-treating. Maybe the mother took the youngster out while trick-or-treating so she could stock up on free candy. In case you didn't know, LSD is one of the most common and dangerous drugs in the entire world. I think that's enough drugs for one day. Let's move on to something rusty. One poor boy discovered a rusty nail in his Halloween candy after trick-or-treating in 2014. Want to know the worst part? He didn't discover the nail while he was breaking apart his candy. He was eating it. He felt the nail poke the inside of his cheek. But that's not even the worst part of the story. The mother then went to check on the other trick-or-treats and discovered many more pieces of metal inside them. Nails, staples, and what appeared to be watch pieces were among them. Jeez, it's Halloween, people. Not an opportunity to hurt kids who just want to have fun. Starting now, things get even scarier. Keep watching until the end. A dentist with an evil plan. I know this sounds like the title of a horror movie, but it isn't. It's the true story of a dentist who tried to kill hundreds of kids. In 1959, a certain dentist named William V. Shine handed out 450 pieces of candy to unsuspecting kids. These kids were pretty excited. I mean, come on, who wouldn't be? 450 pieces of candy is a whole lot. It turns out that this candy contained laxatives, and over 30 kids fell ill the next day. This dentist was arrested, made to pay a fine of $500, and sentenced to 6 months in jail. Time for a sharp candy surprise. A woman who went trick-or-treating in New York and found a Tootsie Roll in her candy bag. Naturally, she was excited, but this excitement quickly turned into fear when she took a bite out of the candy. The woman realized she wasn't actually chewing candy, but something way harder. It was a shard of glass. This woman spat it out before it could do any harm, saving her from a trip to the hospital. You won't believe this next story. An 8-year-old girl in Hercules, California went trick-or-treating during Halloween, expecting to get the best candies any kid could wish for. Fortunately, she did get a number of tasty candies, and just one more thing she didn't wish for: a bag of crystal meth. Luckily, her parents discovered this before she could try it. Who knows what could have happened? Let's just say it wouldn't have been a good day for the little girl. Scary, right? Let's throw some adult-themed candies into the mix. What would you do if you found candies shaped like a penis in your Halloween candy bag? Sounds like a joke, right? Well, it actually happened in New Zealand. A Dutch company imported these penis-shaped gummies from China, and they were meant for an adult market. However, there was a mix-up, and these gummies were delivered to a children-based market. Imagine the thousands of kids who opened their candies to discover penis-shaped gummies. This might have given the kids a good laugh, but it must have been pretty awkward for the parents. We should be done with drugs, right? Not yet. All these kids wanted was a perfect Halloween. Countless candies, scary costumes, and a happy night. Well, someone who hates Halloween had other plans. One of the kids discovered a pack of pills in his candy bag, and the other bit into the pill while eating a Snickers bar. Now, why would anyone place a pill inside a candy? Isn't it kind of creepy? Fortunately for these kids, the reports show that the drugs were prescription drugs and couldn't have harmed the children in any way. But that doesn't make this any less creepy, does it? I think we've heard enough about sharp and spiky candies, but you gotta hear this story. A certain man named James Joseph Smith in Minneapolis had an evil plan. He wanted to hurt little kids by filling candies with needles. At first, James got several candies, tore them open, and then filled them up with needles. Then at night, he shared them with innocent little kids who were trick-or-treating. Most of the little kids who got the candies discovered the needles before biting into them, but an unlucky child bit into the candy and the needle pricked him in the mouth. Ouch! That must have been really hurtful. Thankfully, James was arrested and sent to jail. Moving on, here's another horror Halloween story. One Halloween in Michigan, it seemed like there was a person who really wanted to hurt kids in the neighborhood. Why do I say so? Two kids who lived really close to each other discovered that someone had messed with the packs of Laffy Taffy and Reese's Peanut Butter Cup they got in their candy baskets. So rather than just dig into it, these kids decided to investigate. Right after opening it, these kids detected several sharp blades buried into the candies. Do you know the tiny blade in a small pencil sharpener? That was exactly what they found. Finding blades is bad enough, but you won't believe this next story. In 2018, a couple had to be rushed to the hospital after they tried their children's Halloween candies. What could have gone wrong? They just ate the Sour Patch Kids candy, and even though they admitted that it tasted a bit weird, they really didn't expect that it would land them in the hospital. Isn't that a little bit mysterious? The police decided to do a quick investigation. Lo and behold, the investigation revealed that the Sour Patch Kids candy contained a small volume of meth. Parents got better, and I'm really glad the kids didn't eat any of it. Next up, it's a mysterious metal object in a Reese's peanut butter cup. In 2017, an 11-year-old girl was rushed to the hospital after eating a piece of Halloween candy she got while trick-or-treating. This little girl had eaten a Reese's peanut butter cup, which contained a mysterious metal object. The metal object was so crazy that this little girl had to be moved to another hospital for an emergency surgery. Was this some sort of prank? Was someone trying to be funny by placing a metal object in a kid's candy bag? I really hope the police find whoever did this so no other child has to go through this pain. Christmas lights in a child's candy. You can probably guess what my first reaction was when I saw this. Christmas lights in a child's candy? Was somebody trying to light up a little kid? Sounds like a pretty funny story, but can you imagine what would have happened if this kid ingested one of those tiny bulbs? This would have caused a crazy health emergency. I'm not sure what this person had in mind, but Christmas lights should never go in Halloween candy bags. They aren't even the same holiday. Someone really thought, how about we put lighters in Halloween candy bags? Lighters are safe for the most part, but they can easily become dangerous in the hands of a little kid. This kid could set the couch on fire, burn their clothes, or even hurt themselves and their friends. But some people didn't really care about that, so they decided to place lighters in the hands of hundreds of kids around the world. Yeah, you heard that right. Lighters have appeared in several candy bags around the world, making us think this was all orchestrated by an evil maniac who hates to see kids happy. Do you think that was scary? How about marbles in a candy meant for a 3-year-old? A father raised an alarm after he noticed something out of place in his daughter's candy, a medium-sized marble. But you know what's worse? His daughter's only 3 years old. And if he wasn't right there with her, she could have put the marble in her mouth, and it would have caused her to choke. Thank goodness her father was there to stop her from swallowing a marble. How horrible would things have instantly turned out? I really want to believe that the marble got there by accident, because I can't imagine anyone wanting to hurt a 3-year-old child. Did we say one more drug story? Well, here's another one. Remember how one drug dealer hid his weed in the wrapper of a Snickers bar? That wasn't so smart, right? Now it looks like drug dealers have discovered smarter ways to hide their weed. In November 2021, the police in Ontario, Canada found out that drug dealers were now handing out cannabis edibles to unsuspecting kids. This happened after the police found these edibles in a kid's Halloween candy bag. Even though these cannabis edibles were put in a small airtight bag, they looked just like gummy bears. Any kid could have eaten this without knowing how dangerous they are. We've seen a number of dangerous items added by random people, but here's something added by the manufacturer of your favorite Halloween candy. Halloween candies have a reputation for being sweet, but not every ingredient that goes into it is as sweet as the candy. In fact, some of the ingredients are far too dangerous for your body. One of such ingredients is a preservative known as TBHQ, that is tertiary butyl hydroquinone. Man, that was quite a mouthful. This preservative is made from a chemical known as butane, which is bad for your health. But hey, don't get all scared and worried. The government makes sure that manufacturers use only a tiny amount of this ingredient for Halloween candies. Seriously, at this point, we've got to ask, what's the obsession with putting hard drugs in Halloween candy? In the UK, a certain Donald Jr. Green was known as a drug addict to almost everyone in his town except the little kids. Donald had mixed his cocaine in his bags of Haribo gummy candies, but when he saw some trick-or-treaters, he forgot about that. So he handed over the bags to the trick-or-treaters and went his way. By the time he remembered, the police had discovered the cocaine. Also, the police found the drug before any kid could try it, saving several kids from a possible overdose. Did you like the video? Now make sure to watch this one about the 10 weirdest candies you should never show to your kids. Trust me, some of them are super weird.